Film School Slacker contains adult language and themes. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello and welcome to Film School Slacker, the podcast where I go through my ever-growing watch list of films. And normally this is the point in the show, I would say, and my co-host Megan. But Megan is busy with life right now. So instead, welcome to the show, Mike D.
Hello.
You'll be kind of doing double duty this week. You're going to be kind of the host and the guest. So it'll be fun.
There you go.
Yeah. So, Mike.
Yes.
We're about to do my very first Quentin Tarantino film.
Yeah.
From the very inception of this show happening, I had always had Mike down on because I think we had talked about when I was first noodling around the concept of this show. I know that I had mentioned it, and you're like, well, I feel like I have some thoughts about Pulp Fiction, but they're not necessarily great. And I'm like, no, that's good. I want those on the show.
It's a little more even complicated than that. Like, it's one of those movies where, I feel like every 18-year-old boy in who was an 80s, 90s baby decided that Quentin Tarantino was the greatest thing ever. And so either by accidentally discovering Reservoir Dogs or Pulp Fiction, they just became the biggest edgelords ever.
Right.
And it's funny because there's another podcast that you and I both listen to, and their host has talked about this routinely, where it's like, I could have gone down a different path in life. And this is one of those things that could have led me down that other path.
Right. You could have been a gateway into a very different life.
A very different person.
And that's the thing is, I went to, having gone through film school, there was kind of two brands of film dudes, right? There was the brand of film dudes that I like to hang out with. A lot of them were very comedy oriented or kind of more maybe venturing into Wes Anderson sometimes. That's its own thing. But a lot of the friends that I took away from film school, that's kind of our vibe. It was much more either historic stuff or nerdy stuff or funny stuff or whatever. And then the other brand of those guys were they just worshipped Quentin Tarantino.
Yep.
And just meeting, and if you're one of those people, and we talked a lot, you probably aren't who I'm talking about. I'll just put that out there. But but there were quite a few of them that it was I never want to interact or work on a set with you because that's it is so toxic. The way that they operated was so toxic. Yeah. And it made me, and I never watched any Quentin Tarantino stuff leading into film school, because I wasn't on my radar. And then I got to film school and met all these people that loved Quentin Tarantino so much, and I'm just like, this has not made me feel more interested.
See, that's me with anime. You would think with my background that I would be a huge anime nerd.
With everything about me.
Right. But no, I think I've watched all of 2 or 3 animes in my entire life, and only one of them did I enjoy. And I enjoyed immensely. It's Cowboy Bebop.
Fair. And it's funny, and I've generally been for me, anime, there's this kind of weird, best way to describe this, it kind of pushes to the wrong impulses of the male brain. And so that's kind of where I just get this feels weird to me. The only exception so far is a pretty new one that came out, and I haven't actually watched the whole thing all the way straight through, but my roommate was watching it, and we were there, and she just, I don't know, kind of sort of double crossed me into watching it. It's called Don Da Don. And it's actually it's new. It's really good. It's just weird. It's just a weird. It's a boy. They're both in I don't know. They're probably in late high school. It doesn't really. They don't really explain. The boy is the awkward nerd kid, and he loves. He believes in UFO. No, yeah, he believes in UFOs, but not ghosts. And there's this girl who believes in ghosts but not UFOs, or spirits and not UFOs.
Their conspiracy powers combined.
And that's literally what it is. And so then it their paths cross. She gets kidnapped by aliens. He gets possessed, and it becomes this whole thing. But my favorite thing about him is his character his possession. There's like so many more details that we could talk about offline,
Right.
but the the line that's so funny is like he can get like and so her like psychic abilities can kind of hold the kind of possession at bay a little bit, and the but so when he can still go into like this like aggro mode to like fight whatever the thing of the episode is, and like he becomes this like weird nihilistic like I don't even care what happens to me. It's
Why
so
does this
funny.
sound? Why does this sound like a 20 or a 2000s or a 2010s like Disney like TV like kind of thing?
It does, but it's like very like edgy. Like at the same time, they've made it like kind of weirdly edgy, and it's genuinely fun. It sort of subverts the genre a little bit while also being kind of a love letter to it. But yeah, if I'm gonna consume like Japanese animated content, I'm kind of more of a Miyazaki guy. But you know, but anyway, that's
I suppose like Studio Ghibli and like I'm
well,
not counting that stuff.
Anime,
I'm thinking like
like classic anime stuff.
You know, like your
Sailor
Dragon
Moon
Balls.
right.
Okay. Then I take it back. There's two animes I've
the one
enjoyed: Sailor Moon and Cowboy Bebop.
I have not seen either of those. Well,
I had an ex who was obsessed with Inuyasha, and I didn't understand. I couldn't. I tried. I didn't understand it. Anyways,
yes.
we have completely
that's
derailed
good.
this
that
train
was what
already.
I was absolutely hoping for, because I'm just trying to delay watching fucking Pulp Fiction.
But yes, that's to say is that this is a movie that was like the gateway movie for every libertarian weird edgelord that I know. And I mean, I had a poster of this movie.
Sure.
Like at one point. So that was the path I had. I had, like I said, I could have gone down a very dark path in life. I had a Matrix poster on one side and a Pulp Fiction one on the other.
Ooh.
Yep.
I do love The Matrix, though.
Well, it's The Matrix is another one where it has two different fan groups,
and they're wildly different.
Wildly different. I mean, the red pill, blue pill analogy could not be more
clear.
Like,
oh, it's crazy. Yeah, it's wild. But okay. So, Pulp Fiction.
As we've said, this movie is directed by Quentin Tarantino.
Oh boy, Quentin.
Yep. It was also written by him and somebody named Roger Avery.
Okay.
Don't know, but I mean, everybody knows who it is. But in case you've been living under a rock, it features John Travolta, Uma Thurman, Samuel L. Jackson, Bruce Willis, Tim Roth, another name people will recognize, Ving Rhames. I
did not know Bruce Willis was in it.
Yeah, he's like one of the main guys in it.
Idea. Yeah, I know shockingly little about this film.
I mean, there's also some other people that other people might know, like Eric Stoltz, Rosanna Arquette is in it. As I'm a voice actor nerd, Phil Lamar is in it.
Oh, I do know Phil Lamar. Yep.
He's
nice.
He's one of those voice actors that's in everything.
Yep.
So Tim Roth, I said that. Laura Lovelace, Amanda Plummer. Yeah.
Nice.
A lot of people. There's some of the same people like that get used in a lot of Tarantino movies.
Right,
Like Tim Roth gets used. He used to get used a lot.
Uma Thurman too, I suppose. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's definitely like the auteur. We were Megan and I are coming off of a Wes Anderson film.
Okay.
And I like the aesthetic from Wes Anderson, though it can be, you can't just sit there and just watch Wes Anderson because my God, you'll die. But like I do like the Grand Budapest Hotel specifically is one of my favorite films, but I can't say that I want to watch Wes Anderson's take on everything. Right?
Yeah, I mean, I could go on a tangent about my feelings about Atomic City that everybody thought that was.
Asteroid City?
Or Asteroid City, that's what it is. Sorry, not Atomic City.
I have not seen that one either yet, and I remember being like, this looks like it's just like busy, like it's got too many things happening at once. And so that one's on my list as well because I'm trying to work through the stuff of his I haven't seen, but anyway, but the idea of like that, the kind of the auteur directors having that kind of standard set of actors that they use repeatedly.
Yep.
And that is, it's interesting. An interesting call out, because Uma Thurman.
Yep.
Is one that I know just from.
I want to say he has used Samuel L. Jackson before a couple times.
Yeah, because he was in. Yeah, I don't remember because I can't think of all these.
I mean, I know movies. He's in Django.
Yep. That one.
Which again, now that I'm an adult, and know how the real world works, and I'm not a complete asshole.
Yeah.
There's only like 2 Tarantino movies that I actually still like.
Okay.
And it's Django and Inglourious Bastards.
Okay, and this is my very first Tarantino film, so I'm excited to like get through some of those.
And this is like it's this or Reservoir Dogs are like the 2 quintessential ones to watch.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, with that being said, are you ready? I know I'm not, but we'll just...
I am. I'm here for watching.
Just watching. All right.
Just some filth. I mean, I'm a person who still thinks Iron Sky is one of the greatest worst movies of all time.
Look, I love a bad movie around here. It's a good time.
So...
Have you watched The Room all the way through?
Yes, but that's because of riff tracks.
Fair.
That and Sharknado and Twilight are the only reasons I was able to get through all 3 of those is because of riff tracks.
That's very fair. Oh man. All right. Well, with that being said, let's roll this puppy.
Let's do this thing.
Okay, I have just several thoughts.
I saw that. I saw that.
Okay. To me, it feels like you could bring this to any therapist, just so they could get a start to work with Quentin Tarantino. Like, it's every single one of his own neuroses or like kink or something, any weird little thing. Just it's all lined up in a neat little bow and just that's thought number 1. Thought number 2 is he really feels very entitled to our time.
Yeah.
I don't know, then that sounds shitty because I don't mean that in my time is worth a lot, but it's like he just is willing to just let us watch Bruce Willis walk down a street for a really long time.
I mean, that's what I was saying is I watch it with a much more critical eye this time, and I'm like, nothing is happening.
Right.
There's so much time where nothing is happening. There is inconsequential conversations about nothing.
Right.
This is like if you took a Wes Anderson movie. Or no, I'm thinking a Coen Brothers movie. Let's go that.
Right.
Coen Brothers movie with a lot of racism and violence.
Actually, I've found that at least with the Coen Brothers movie, and again, I haven't seen tons of them, but they typically have a single driving narrative, and they'll be a big establishing thing.
Sure.
But it's usually part of a quick driving story thing. And this is it's just
this was
I don't know how it can be
there's 2 different stories going on.
Yeah.
And they barely connect.
Yeah, and I get the whole Pulp Fiction thing being it's the low quality, I kind of the I can't remember now the description, but like a pulp magazine or whatever.
Yeah.
I get what it was trying to be the homage to.
And see, that's another thing that I have a lot of thoughts on with it. It's this also feels like a film school student's project.
Yes.
In that there is so many weird, I know there's a bunch of weird references to other movies that nobody has seen. It's oh, here's some weird samurai movie from the 50s that 3 people have watched.
Yeah, it's one of those things where there are 2 kinds of self-referential or referential kind of media where it's the kind where a person invites you into their world, and then there's the kind where it's you get extra points by getting it.
Yeah.
And that's what this feels like. It's like oh, but you have to understand these weird in jokes and stuff, and that's what makes it really deep. Mm-hmm. And I don't mean to like shit on the fact that there is fun and like learning and understanding
Right.
more stuff. I don't want to like say that people shouldn't create media with that involved.
No,
or,
because I mean,
yeah,
we'll take like the Marvel movies are full of
Full of
nothing,
that.
full of Easter eggs,
right. And so like I get it, but also like it just there's a certain level of self-indulgence to me with this that feels kind of like masturbatory.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And that's sort of my thing. And the other big kind of, before we get into like the notes, the other big thing that this feels to me is there is an element of there's a male power trip fantasy.
Oh God,
element.
yeah, there's so much of that.
Yeah, like that was something that I hadn't, that I didn't. It's a at least with Fight Club, there was like a twist or like a quote unquote like twist to have, right? But in this one, like there really wasn't an underlying thing to look for.
No,
there really never really existed.
No.
Yeah, I think that was one of the things that kind of irritated me the most, was like the male power trip fantasy was sort of my least favorite part.
Every like relationship that exists in there is like toxic
as all hell. Yeah.
Like,
like
abusive. I wrote that down. I'm like, every one of these guys, like Bruce Willis's character, Eric Stoltz's character, John Travolta's, like, their interactions with women are like
really not good.
Like Andrew Tate level nonsense.
Yeah, no, literally. Oh my God, absolutely. Yeah, but yeah, I absolutely. That was one of my big notes. Was just like, wow, these, like it's the male power trip in like having a control over a high stakes situation, and then you combine that with the way that they treat women on the same kind of like all in kind of with each other, like really shows you something. And I don't know what it is exactly. Like I'm trying to kind of still piece myself together on like what exactly the overarching thing is, but
I don't know that there is. That's the thing. It's like, I mean, again, this comes off the heels of Reservoir Dogs, which honestly, nothing really of consequence happens in that either. I mean, you've got a bunch of dudes who one of them loses their shit. I mean, spoiler alert if you haven't seen Reservoir Dogs, but also it's a 30-something-year-old movie at this point, so I have no sympathy.
We don't do spoiler warnings in this podcast. Everything's so old.
So it's a movie where basically one guy gets found out to be undercover and another guy loses his absolute cool and everybody's dead at the end of it. It's basically King Lear in a weird way of just like, we don't know how to end this. Let's just bloodbath this crap.
And that seems to be, to me, like the thing that I find. One of the notes I actually had was, I'd rather be watching Archer.
Well, right. You know what I mean? Like, that, if you're going to watch a bunch of idiots play,
like
play
fun,
like that.
If you want fun dialogue, people being idiots, and like weird kind of shocking and or violent things happening, I think I'd rather watch it in the form of an actual comedy,
right?
And animated. Like Archer is better written. They still do all the bits. Like I see this movie and I'm like, I know I'm supposed to kind of take this as a joke. Like, that's kind of the idea.
And I don't know that it is.
Like, that's the part that I just get, like, weirdly hung up on. Like, because I know that, like, Fight Club is supposed to be a farce. And they didn't notice. But I feel like Quentin Tarantino, like, it plays just serious enough where I'm like, is this, what are we supposed to be getting out of this? Like,
I don't know that it's like that.
Oh, no. Oh, God. All right, well, I'm going to get into my notes and we'll just start going.
I mean, that's the thing. Is like, I mean, and again, like, we should have said this earlier, but this movie beat out Forrest Gump for the Oscar for Best Picture that year.
So, and we'll get into this, too, as we get a little bit deeper in, but it was technically very good. Like,
it was.
Like, from a perspective of like, it has a kind of timeless video, like timeless cinematography and editing style. And so I will give it credit for that. Like, that is something that it's very good at doing. However, there comes a point where that can't get you out of what you've ultimately written. I know I'm gonna like get my film student card revoked, but whatever. Somebody's gonna come in and take my diploma off the wall. my first note though is like, ugh, fucking Fight Club all over again. We saw Moonrise Kingdom last week, and so that was the second movie in a row I've seen with Harvey Keitel in it, who I deeply enjoy as an actor. I did say, I'm like, oh, Harvey Weinstein, wonderful. Always fun to see that on credits. Oh boy. I think one of my favorite things, because I called it out a couple of times, like the Royale with cheese, the Big Mac. So their banter was definitely some of the funnest.
Oh yeah.
Like generally, like especially when you kind of like juxtapose it against the violence that's happening around them. But again, that's also like Archer. Like this is not new ground. Though I have to guess that this was probably pretty early on in doing. And that's the other problem that I've run in this podcast before, where media since the thing that I just watched has done it better.
Oh yeah.
Which doesn't mean that like, and so I have to be like, well, I like when they do it as a farce and Archer more, but like I have to acknowledge that maybe this was the first one to do it in the way that did it, you know. So I don't want to not give it its flowers for kind of doing the witty banter over the backdrop of violence. Like I don't want to like discredit it because I like it someone else that does it better, newer, but I still think that it's fine. Yeah. But it was one of my favorite parts of the film, was like their Jules and Vince's banter was the best.
Yeah, no. Even though it means nothing. Like that was my first note, is there's so much dialogue that just means nothing.
And that is an actual good point in you even comparing it to something like Archer, which is I feel like is going to become my continuous back thing. That's which fair. Is because like even their dumb banter is like plot line for inner character relationships, and none of these characters have really any development.
Literally, Jules is the only one with any modicum of development, and he just decides, you know what, I almost died. Fuck this shit, I'm out.
Like and it was like and they made it a joke because he was going to make it like a religious thing. Right. Like that was it. That was the entire bit. Like
and by the way, I mean, I know everybody's been an internet sleuth. They know it's fake, but that Bible verse is terribly misquoted. It's not like that at all. He embellishes on it, but a little piece of movie trivia, if you didn't know this, that Bible verse then ends up on Nick Fury's gravestone when he fakes his death in the Avengers movies.
That is actually a pretty good Easter egg, frankly. Yes. So anyway, no, you're right though. That's a really good point, is like they have like witty banter, but the witty banter is literally 6 inches deep. Like there's nothing there.
No.
Beyond just like some kind of funny things with like kind of base level witty dialogue on top of something else.
Yeah.
I do like seeing Samuel L. Jackson without an eye patch. Always nice to see.
Yeah, always nice to see, you know.
Immediately, foot stuff is happening.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's just like the Quentin Tarantino bit with like having a foot fetish. Like, I thought that was like an overblown deal, but no. Like,
no. I mean,
he must.
That whole scene in Jackrabbit Slims, it's like, explain to me why they take their shoes off.
Right. Exactly.
There's
no reason for that.
For it.
No, it's just Quentin Tarantino getting his rocks off.
Wants to be like, I want to see Uma Thurman's feet for a second. And I guess John Travolta in socks.
Why not? God, it's so weird. It's so weird.
And then here's the other thing. If you've seen Kill Bill,
I don't know if you have. I have not.
When she's, again, spoiler alert, but whatever, it's an old movie at this point. She's lying there in the bed and they show the feet there when you got Buck, you know, all that stuff. It's like, this is the second time she shows her feet in a goddamn Tarantino movie.
Damn it. Well, and so even at the beginning, which I think is when I first started writing this, like, it's the whole bit about the foot massage.
Oh, yeah.
And they just, like, are talking about giving the guy a foot massage or giving like, and talking about, that's the other thing that these guys often are in the opposite of a Bechdel test. Yeah. Like, they never stop talking about, like, possessiveness with men and women. Like, they talk about the women like possessive objects pretty frequently.
Well, not only that, but everything is to a level of an extreme too.
Right.
Like, you know, it's almost like if you've ever seen the movie Crash.
I have, but it's been a really long time.
It gets a lot of criticism because everything in that movie is, while the whole movie is, you know, has a good point of racism bad.
Right.
It's all like extremes of it and tackle the like
nuance.
the reality of like the subtle racism, which is worse than just look, it's an LA cop and there's
right. I see. Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
But that's just it. Like everything is an extreme in this movie, and I don't know that it adds anything of value to be that extreme. Like you go to the whole point of that dude being tossed out of the balcony allegedly for the foot massage.
Right. Yeah, and obviously they address it a little bit later, talking about like that's so bizarre that you would think that he would do that, but then like it's just.
But then like. But maybe later on in the movie, he talks about getting his guys there with a bunch of pliers and all. This. So it's just like. I don't know that I believe that he wouldn't toss somebody.
Yeah,
I mean,
like he could do that. Like,
I don't. I'm trying to think in the time frame when this happens, but the whole Vanilla Ice Suge Knight thing, where he holds him out of a balcony, out of a hotel room, like just
that was sort of the era,
right? So it's just like it wouldn't be unreasonable to think that somebody who is of the mobster ilk would toss somebody out of the window for something like that.
Yeah,
like,
and it's just weird that we never see, like, they're ostensibly married. We never really see them together except for that one scene, which is sort of odd.
Yep, and it's
it's really just interesting. I feel like from a production perspective, like the whole movie like feels very 70s,
and that's kind of a thing with him.
Is that
he loves. I mean, he's got his vibes of when he loves movies to be. I mean, there's the whole God, I'm gonna get cream for this, but the movie that he did with Robert Rodriguez, that was the Split something house. Why am I drawing a blank on this right now? Grindhouse. That's what I was thinking of.
Okay.
And it's all just 70s homage to like those kind of ridiculous movies. So it's a thing with him.
I see. That makes sense.
Reservoir Dogs falls in a similar ilk of feeling very 70s.
Sure.
Which, other fun fact, that movie got funded because of Spy Kids.
Because Robert
Rodriguez did Spy Kids.
And made the money on Spy Kids.
And made so much money off of that movie that they were just able to do something ridiculous like Grindhouse.
Jesus Christ. So weird. So weird. Ain't the same ballpark. Yeah, then they start splitting hairs whether or not... Like, and that's the thing I think is interesting is like... It's the same thing that happens with Fight Club too. Mm-hmm. It's the kind of like near quasi philosophical discussions that aren't
right.
If you really start to boil it down, like the discussion of being like, well, I mean, I never said it was the same thing as fucking someone, but it's like in the ballpark.
I mean, this is modern internet discourse right now, like Sigma Alpha bros, like talking where they're just like,
oh God, you're
they pretend that they're philosophy majors, but they're they're saying nothing.
They're literally talking in a way that sounds like something, but it's actually just regurgitated stuff from 90s Quentin Tarantino movies.
And again, like I said, I mean, that was once upon a time one of my favorite movies.
Right.
I could have gone down a dark path.
Right. Yeah, you could have been doing at least none of us went down the Zizian path.
Right. Oh God. Yeah. It's funny because I'm wearing my Behind the Bastard shirt right now.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I probably should get one of those. That's good. Yeah, Robert Evans, are you okay? I feel like we need to check in on you. It's not been a good run lately. So that's I find that's one of my biggest complaints about this kind of genre area. It's like these are films that aren't without their they're not without their merits. They're without their reasons to exist, but like the problem is it's like they get into these weird, they have this way of taking things that are really stupid or bad or violent and like twisting it into this like philosophical man brain thing that I can see how easy it is to slip into it. I don't know. I just grew up in an environment where I just didn't watch it early enough or whatever. Like I just kind of avoided it somehow.
And that's the thing too. Like I've ran into this with like showing movies to people that like I loved in the 90s, and you try to show it to them now, and it's like I tried to, show, Laurel,
Yeah.
Clerks, like several years ago. She had never seen it.
Yeah.
It doesn't age.
So-
it didn't age well. So it's just like somebody seeing it for the first time in, like, let's say 2022.
That's Kevin Smith, right?
Right.
Yeah.
It's just
So I had a I've only ever seen one Kevin Smith movie, and that Kevin Smith movie was Dogma, and
Okay.
it was for this podcast. And you are counting among many of my friends who are big fans of Kevin Smith.
yeah.
I thought that Dogma was a good movie. I really hated Jay and Silent Bob.
Jay, that's a whole other thing we could get into.
I know.
I
know.
Yeah,
I know.
I have thoughts on that too.
I know,
but,
and so like I just the movie as a whole, like I'm like, this is clearly a very intelligent director who I think I agree with,
Right.
basically, you know, and I think that I liked what Dogma was. I liked the core of like what it was doing. The thing with oh shit, was it Ben Affleck and Matt Damon?
Matt Damon,
yeah,
yeah.
super young, like. That was fun. It was really actually intelligent. Like
Right.
the movie was actually like had a lot of these fun, like there was a good
there was a point when Ben Affleck could express emotion.
It was cool. Yeah, it was a great time. Glad it was in Dogma. There was this element of like there was a really good movie in there. That was this like fun through line that was kind of religious sort of interesting satirical thing. It was so good.
Somebody who grew up in that atmosphere, it's just like that whole movie was kind of one of those things that clicked in my head and being like, oh my God, this is all bullshit.
Right. And my friend Megan had the same, I believe, if I recall correctly, I don't want to misspeak for her, but the episode's out there somewhere if someone wants to fact check me, but like she was the same way. She's like, this isn't the movie that I would say single-handedly changed my feelings about religion, but it certainly got me on a path.
Got me there,
right?
yeah.
So I don't want to like just complain about my gripes with it because I do think it has a lot of merit, and I actually think that I would much prefer it. And I think a lot of Kevin Smith stuff, just based on what I know about him, compared to something like this, you know, like because even though there's a lot of big nitpicks I have, I really like the kind of core through line story that they were telling, and it was much more tongue in cheek.
Yep.
Whereas this was like it was saying less and taking itself more seriously.
Right, exactly.
Like why? Anyway,
All
sorry,
right, I'm going to say my piece
please.
about
Yes.
Jay and Silent Bob,
Yes,
and then
please.
we'll move on. But
Yes.
If you've ever seen the Mad Max movies, at
I've
all.
seen Fury Road a while ago.
So the movies are never about Max. They're always about the stuff happening around him.
100%.
And that is what I feel about the Jay and Silent Bob movies. It's never about them. They're just the only reason it's part of that universe. It's just the stuff happening around them.
I agree on the point of like, yeah, that's the narrative plot device, 100%. My only issue with that is they need to get out of the way a little bit more then. Like,
I mean, you can say the same thing in Mad Max.
Yeah,
or
no,
there's
I
times
agree.
where
Like, I dislike the. And again, this is about a different movie. We're rehashing something else, but I'm sure there'll be a time where we end up talking about a Kevin Smith movie together. But I think that one of my big complaints with that was it's just that they. And then like Silent Bob will go in and save the day, and this might be just because of the way it was in Dogma. Like I have a sample size of one film, right?
Yeah.
But I remember like Silent Bob will like do a bit, and like he somehow saves the day with all these characters that are actually part of the story, and there's these two guys that are kind of like just happen to be there. Like it's a self-insert. I get it. It's supposed to be just like they are the vehicle that we are supposed to project ourselves into to like go along with this like journey. But they are very irritating car companions to ride with.
Yeah,
to me,
no, that's fair. That's
as
fair.
a 31-year-old man watching it for the first time. But anyways,
speaking of self-inserts, do you want to address him adding himself into the movie and
I
just that?
do, and I have a note for that later.
Okay.
But before we get there, that's actually a neat tie into another thought I had.
Sure.
Which is I think his actual self-insert was Vince. He wants to be Vince.
Yeah, I could see that.
You know what I mean? Like he does insert who, like Quentin Tarantino inserts who he actually is as Jimmy. Like he does that. That's who he like knows to be in. Like that's how he thinks the world perceives him. But internally, he wishes he was Vince. He wants to be able to use the N-word. He wants to be like friends with everybody. You know, he wants to be like cool. He wants to have control over a room. People like him, even though he's kind of annoying. Like that's the mental projection of Quentin Tarantino is Vince. That's my personal headcanon.
No, I can agree with that. I mean, I'll give Vince the credit that he does. That whole scene where he has the self-reflection in the bathroom. Like, at least he made the effort to be like, hey, maybe I shouldn't go with this.
Yeah.
Versus the modern dialogue of, we know how that goes now.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no. And then I think actually Vince might be potentially the least problematic character.
Oh, weirdly enough. Yeah.
like it's like him and Harvey Keitel, basically.
Right.
Like everyone else is like kind of a problem. So I that's why I keep kind of seeing Quentin Tarantino as being like, he's just like trying to like insert himself into the main story, like he would be inserting himself as Vince in my opinion.
Even like Harvey Keitel, like that seems to be like the only relationship that doesn't seem entirely awful. Right. And even then it's a little bit
weird
because he's called like, oh, this is showing me respect and
right,
and she's all like, yeah, whatever, old man.
Yeah, it's like, what the fuck is this?
Right.
Yeah.
But like, it could be tongue-in-cheek banter. It could be the weird like, show me damn respect, blah blah blah. But like, it never gets
far enough.
It never gets to the level of like the other ones with like, just. I don't know. The one that bothers me the most, I think, is Bruce Willis's character.
Buck
that relationship.
Buck is
the worst.
Clearly, like, and the thing that's even the most awful about it is the way that it's definitely like emotional violence.
Oh,
like
yeah.
he never physically hurts her, but like the fact that he's destroying shit around her and then apologizing immediately is just classic.
That's a classic abuser.
It's classic abuser stuff. So like that one to me was like, and then it makes you go, am I supposed to be like, am I supposed to like this character? Am I not? And I understand that like the point is not to be like, I think that's part of the thing is it's like,
right.
You're not
supposed
supposed
to be likable.
Right. But then on the flip side, and that's fine, you have every right to create a bunch of not likable characters or complicated characters. But when you create a bunch of characters that I don't like any of them, why am I watching the movie? Like,
I mean, it's a similar thought to like people I know who like with Breaking Bad, and they all regard it as like this great show. But my problem always with it was that it was like, who am I rooting for in this show? Because everybody's kind of freaking awful.
And I never got into Breaking Bad for that very reason.
I think I stopped right around the time after Kristen Ritter's character dies.
Okay.
And I was kind of like, all right,
I'm done.
I can watch other stuff.
Yeah, there's more media in the world.
Like, I'm sure somebody is going to be like, no, you just need to give it a chance. And I'm like, no, I already know how it ends. And it ends exactly how I thought it was going to end.
Right, exactly. I do like the MacGuffin suitcase is kind of fun.
Yeah.
Where you don't know what's in it and they never show what's in it and it glows. That's kind of cute.
I remember reading all these weird theories about it. Of course. That the big one being that that it's Marcellus's soul.
I'm not sure how.
The Band-Aid. He's always got that Band-Aid in the back of his neck, and it's a weird, like, I don't know. It's in a gymnastic level stretch, but but that's been like the big theory. And I don't know. I could be wrong. I haven't looked it up in years. That he's never really said what it is.
And like that's the point. Right. And the funny thing about that is, it's like he probably never. It was a bit. It was a goof, right? Mm-hmm. And so, like,
just put a light bulb in the suitcase.
Put a light bulb in there and make it glow, and it's cute because we don't actually want to have to deal with what it is. And then people go, God, it's so artsy because you don't know what it is. Everyone speculates wildly.
Now they'll bring their friends, and then they'll talk about it when they do some DMT in the basement later.
Right. God.
Maybe they'll start a podcast.
Oh, God, we've fallen into the trap. Say what again? There's so many. One of the big things about this movie, one of the reasons I was like kind of like begrudgingly looking forward to watching it, was there's so much pop culture stuff.
So much quotable stuff in it. Like
there's the memes and GIFs and quotes and things. It's just everywhere. And so that was fun to see, like a couple of those, like the say what again, like that's getting the context. That was kind of fun. One of the things, this becomes an ongoing thing in this movie that I noticed after a number of times, I called out a few times, fade to blacks.
Yeah.
He uses fade to black a lot. And this is a dumb hot take, and it's only my personal feelings about editing and not about I'm not saying this in the fact that I believe everyone else that does it is wrong. I think fade to blacks are lazy. I think
should be like a pixelating into the next scene,
like a star wipe. No,
or just like a solar flare, like some J.J. Abrams.
So my thing about a fade to black is there are certainly narrative times that it makes sense to do it, but generally, if there's a way for you to convey that you're in a new location, typically it'd be like, okay, you finished a sequence happening and you want to go somewhere else or you want to go to a different time, different place, to start a new sequence. Typically what you do is you create an establishing sequence. You start wide, you move in closer, and you just kind of move in and out of the sequence, and you punch in slowly through a couple different shots. When you do the fade to black, it just stops the movie dead. It just any flow that you have going is just and you stop and then you start again. And I feel like it's more your eyes are more, your brain is more used to, with editing, you blink, however many times a minute, right? Yep. And so we actually have our brain fills in a lot of gaps with image, right? We see and blink and interrupt and self-edit all the time.
I mean, that is why fight choreography on stage and film works so well. Is that you
fill in the gaps.
Do it in such a way that it's quick enough where nobody notices that you didn't actually hit that person.
Right.
Sorry, I'm giving away the secrets.
No. Please do. That's what we like to do here.
But especially in film, they can even edit the nanosecond where it
would connect.
Where it would connect.
Right.
But on stage even, it's you do it in such a way where it doesn't look like something happened, but your brain, if your brain thought about it long enough, you could discern that how it didn't happen.
And you create and if you create a sufficient noise or a sufficient distraction, whatever, it's very easy.
Sells it,
you just don't even question it.
Right.
And so we we visually are used to going between and seeing disjointed things a lot. What is weird is closing your eyes and holding them closed, or having your eye, having darkness forcibly pushed upon you. It is very theatrical, but for me in the world of editing, I just don't like it. I don't like doing it because it feels like I'm and then starting something new.
Right.
And I know a couple of times he did it when it was the end of each kind of chapter, those chapters that they were kind of putting together,
which kind of felt like they shoehorned those in the second half, where all of a sudden there's these chapters that didn't exist prior to in the movie.
It didn't, unless I'm missing a pop culture reference that those are supposed to be connecting to, the formatting of those. It didn't mean anything. It just felt like it was this weird and now we're doing the Bonnie situation. I get it. It's a self-contained bit. I get
the gang deals with the Bonnie situation.
The gang deals with the Bonnie situation. Okay, I guess,
Now I'm just imagining Charlie Day being in that scene.
Oh my God. Cheesy Pete's. But yeah, I don't know. I found it to be a little disjointed. And I know that disjointed is oftentimes the goal. I get it.
It's artsy.
I get it. But now I had to go. Maybe my problem is I had to go through 4 years of film school of watching people do that shit because Quentin Tarantino did it. I don't know. Maybe that's my problem.
I just come from the actor perspective of being because there's definitely some stuff that I watching it with this critical eye this time.
Right.
I'm like, oh my God, I didn't realize how terrible acting some of that was. I had a couple notes here about Bruce Willis in general, where I'm just
wow, Bruce Willis.
Just I guess I never paid attention to him before and realized that he's not a good actor.
I would say that he's totally great if he's playing Bruce Willis,
right?
And that's the only character he plays.
But the inconsistency of like when he has the alleged broken leg or something's messed up with his leg.
Right.
The inconsistency of it. I know. Like all of a sudden he is fine to ride a motorcycle and he kind of stumbles up the stairs, but all of a sudden he's fine to take every step.
And you could always argue like, well, it's adrenaline or whatever, but it's like,
but then like it's back 10 seconds later.
Yeah. No, I fully
and it's
agree.
just like, that and then what really got me is when he's trying to be stealthy.
Yeah.
And he's walking like he's got a load in his pants. I'm like, what kind of stealth do you think this is? When you're walking, you're like, I just need to get to the house so I can change my underwear. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Like I'm just watching that. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah,
like
I know.
They're just like, yeah, okay, whatever. This is as good as we're gonna
get out of you. Just
fine.
Check the gate. Yeah. The intro. Speaking of Butch, the first scene where we're introduced to him in like when Marcel is talking to him.
Yeah.
There's the camera like just kind of like moves just like imperceptibly back and forth. I'm like, was that intentional? Like, if it was, I don't really know why, because you never saw anything of note on either side of the frame when it moved.
Right.
But it was like, did they just bump the tripod? Like, that doesn't sound like a thing that they would do.
The only thing I can think of is it's supposed to be first person perspective.
So
your face would kind of move a little bit as you're talking.
I guess.
What got me in that scene is I want to know how many damn takes they did of that, because I can't imagine staring into a camera for like what felt like an eternity,
right?
And doing that with a straight face, like that's gotta be hard.
Have to be like stabbing yourself slightly the whole time just to keep a straight face. God. I do like the line, "Pride only hurts, it never helps." That is kind of a fun line. There's a couple of good little quotables in there. Yeah. The piercing discussion. What are we gathering except for objectifying women? Like having I feel like the other thing that Quentin Tarantino likes to do is like get a woman to say something sexual on camera.
Well, and it just kind of goes over to there's a lot of absurdity in this movie.
Right.
In this movie, just to be absurd.
Yes.
Like there's a lot of
shocking.
Shocking. It's just like, okay, great. It was the 90s. I know everybody wasn't getting pierced yet at that point.
Right.
I guess I hung out with enough people where it's just like, that didn't faze me. I was like, I knew people with all those piercings. So.
Right, exactly. And that's the same. Like, and we just, I went through art school and did theater in high school. Like, these were discussions that happened, but it wasn't done in the same, like, very, like kind of quasi, like,
it was being gross.
It was being gross.
Right. It's
it was just being.
Look, a woman's got all these weird sexual piercings.
Tell me where all your weird sexual piercings are, and what is it good for?
What are they good for?
What are they good for?
I don't know why that.
100%. It's like why would, and it's just like, and then they asked a question. Her response was, of course, like something sexual and related to pleasuring a man. I'm like, of course, like, all right, great, like, amazing. Like, it just every little bit that the movie could take that opportunity, it did, which was annoying to me. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I'm fine. Yeah. Whatever.
I get it, because everything in that is a weird, like you said, like it's just like a weird like power dynamic where it's like everything's about how to further the men in this whole thing. I mean, even Harvey Keitel ends up with the woman who's from the junkyard.
The only thing that I have to say about that sequence, she seemed very at ease.
Oh yeah, she was.
So to me, that made me feel less skeeved out, other than the fact that Harvey Keitel was significantly older and I didn't know what their deal was. Anyway,
be as it may, it's another scene of a man
power dynamic
with a woman that added really nothing.
Right.
I mean, we'll go back to the thing with the drug dealer and all that, but like then there's the second woman in the house.
Yeah.
Why?
We don't know.
She adds nothing.
She does.
Is she Irish or something?
We don't know.
I don't remember.
It's never really made clear, and she never really becomes relevant
again. She's got sort
again.
of an accent, and she's just kind of there.
She's just kind of Quentin Tarantino's type on purpose. I don't know.
Are we insinuating there's a
I don't know.
He's having threesomes, or
I don't think that she was supposed to be anything, because I don't remember her even really having a relevancy in. Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question.
But it was just like, then what is the point of having her there?
Right.
Like, if she adds nothing to a scene, it just. It's like, so does somebody owe somebody a favor, and they're like, "Hey, get her some screen time." Maybe I don't even know who that is, to be honest. I'm sure I could do some sleuthing and figure it out, but that would require work that I would want to do.
Exactly. Twistix, I didn't like that. That was weird.
Yeah, Twistix. I was like, yeah, because you were even like, wait, is that
like a twist tie?
Twist ties? I'm like, I think so.
I've seen them. Oh, hi, heroin. And then the meme. He does the meme. So he gets. So we have our Vince gets his heroin, and he goes and sees Mia, and that's Uma Thurman. And they're gonna go to what's in the restaurant?
Jackrabbit Slims.
Jackrabbit Slims. Yeah, which I would actually. I told you during the when we watched it. I would totally go there. That sounds like fun because I'm weird. But
I feel like a restaurant like that could only exist in Los Angeles.
100%. Like, yeah, Los Angeles or literally
Hollywood,
or to a certain degree, Florida, but tackier.
Yeah,
it wouldn't have the same panache.
It wouldn't hit the same way.
100%. So
they would find some way to mess it up.
And have, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Looking at you, Planet Hollywood. So he goes into the house. He does the meme,
right,
which I had never seen in context before. So that was kind of fun.
Because he just goes into an empty house. He's tripping balls on heroin.
Right. Totally stoned out of his gourd.
I will give praise on acting
to John Travolta
and Uma Thurman to be able to act like they are bugged out of their minds.
Yeah.
Like that was good because then it changes. He changes when he's more sober.
Right.
Before he's all cracked out,
Right. He definitely when he's not strung out on heroin, he's definitely a lot more anxious.
Yeah.
Like you can tell he's more kind of twitchy when he's not, which is an interesting, it's a cool attention to detail that John Travolta followed through on basically the whole movie.
Yep.
You can always tell his level of being his level of inebriation essentially. I love when they're in the booth. She draws a square and it leaves a little square on the just classic.
Just don't be a,
and then just draws a square. And then it goes
magically. It's just like
and it's the only time that they do anything like I don't know. It's like fine. I guess
it's like I didn't. Yeah, I have no problem with that.
Right. I don't. It's cool.
Yeah. I'm like that's fine. I'm fine with that. What I'm not fine with is some of the weird just other artsy stuff that they do.
Oh God. So I wrote one of my notes was I would unironically eat in this restaurant.
Yeah. I mean I would too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's also funny just thinking like, okay, so 1994, so that's what 31 years ago,
right.
And we're freaking out over a $5 milkshake, right. And I'm just like oh, $5. Damn, they're like 15 now.
Okay, now does this mean we need to pull up the time money converter?
Yeah, the time money converter to see what $5 and
let's see.
And also keep in mind it's California money, so everything of course costs way more in California. True. Speaking of California, while you're looking that up and bantering, there is no way anybody is getting somewhere in 10 minutes that should be 30 minutes away in Los Angeles.
It's not possible. And I'm sure that's part of the joke, right? Like,
it's
like take 30 minutes, I'll get there in 10.
It has always bothered me, even when I was a kid, somebody who had never been to LA before. I mean, I technically have still never been to LA. I've been to Anaheim, but that doesn't really count. But it's just like, and then for some reason they make it a very specific time, like 9 minutes and 37 seconds later. I'm like,
right.
If that's a reference to something I don't know
what it is.
Like,
right. It was $11.50, by the way, $11.50.
Okay, so $11.50.
That's not that bad, honestly.
No, I mean no, but
yeah,
I just want to know what was so good about it.
Right. I think we all would.
I mean, maybe there was some more sweet heroin in
there.
That. I don't know.
God, it was the 90s in LA. I like the line "Wax Museum with a Pulse" is kind of a fun line. I would definitely watch Fox Force 5. I think that someone needs to greenlight that somewhere.
Yep.
Some more slurs.
God, that is the other thing is like, and I've said this before. Like as I got older, I'm like, this movie feels like it was a vessel for him to say the N-word.
Well, yeah.
And every single character.
And the R-word. Oh, my God. There are some.
And then you've got Christopher Walken, which I, again, forgot he was even in this movie.
Right.
he just goes on a tangent.
Oh yeah, that was a fun one too.
Right.
God,
Just a racist
it's
tangent.
like, and that's the thing is, it's like, I know it's for shock factor,
Right.
But why? Like, but why though? Like, what's the benefit?
Somebody's going to argue that well, people talked like that, but I'm like, again, like you said, what's the benefit?
What's the benefit? Yeah, I mean, like, it as an artist, what are you standing? What is your point? Mm-hmm. Like, and if there is no point, what are you getting out of it? Like,
Right.
I just don't get it.
I mean, I also have a lot of issue with the whole like the logistics of shoving a watch up your ass for 5 years. I'm
Right,
just like,
that just sounds awful. And also, I would not have grabbed it from anybody. That's disgusting.
No.
There was a couple of lines that Vince and Mia had that I did not like. Well, there was weirdness anyway, but one of the ones that I really didn't like was the "Isn't it more exciting when you don't have permission?" I was like, Mia, no.
Yeah, and
Mia,
I
no.
didn't even. Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
that's just a weird, like, it's like whatever, like everyone has their kink, like whatever, but like there's a lot of weird sexual stuff that lines up around something with Quentin Tarantino.
Let's just address the elephant in the room. The Ving Rhames.
Let's hold on. Let me get to before we get to that, because we need to get to that. I would like to roll through the OD sequence, which was weird. That was a weird sequence in and of itself. She snorts the heroin when she was trying, because she thought it was coke, and
because that makes it so much
better, right? And so she ODs, and they go, and he goes to his dealer, which. Wow. Luckily, his dealer actually had an epinephrine shot.
I'm just like, I'm sorry, what dealer has
randomly has, like, it's just a vehicle to have that sequence happen, right?
Right.
And then the other thing that's weird is, like, this dealer who's, like, very just like, Mikasa, Tsukasa, I'm very chill. And then there's, like, the stressful moment that they're putting upon him, and then he becomes, like, of course, violent to his wife. Verbally abusive to his wife.
But not only that, the Mikasa Tsukasa thing is it's cool as long as you're giving me money, but now you're causing me a headache by having crashed your nice car 100%. Into my house, and also
you brought an OD'd person.
Yeah.
No, I actually don't fault him for that. Like, my problem is, like, they bring this character back in the stressful moment, and then he becomes a lot less pleasant, especially to women. Like, again, welcome back. And it's like, I don't know if this is supposed to be a commentary on how men treat women, but I don't think it is.
No.
It's just how Quentin Tarantino sees men treating women.
No.
Like, that's kind of my main, like, it's even less than Fight Club, because at least in the world of Fight Club, the writer had intended to make it a commentary. Like, at least it had a point.
Yeah, which is funny. I always think about Fight Club in the switch it up with Starship Troopers, where the original book was not meant to be a parody,
right?
And the movie is very much a parody. And with Fight Club,
it's
the book is very much a parody.
Well, and I think the movie was too. But the problem with
the way they market it, though, is not
true. Well, and that's fair. And I think, but also, like, they made Tyler Durden too cool,
right?
Like, and that's,
you cast somebody like Brad Pitt in his prime. It's like,
what are you doing?
Everybody it's like, all right, he's too cool. He's hot as hell.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. So anyway, that OD scene was weird. Like, it was just like, suddenly you got these characters, and now it's like, okay, now we're getting everyone mad again, and now the women are being yelled at again. Great. Like, it just, like, why are we fighting? Like, what is the point of this? Like, what are we gaining from this sequence?
I mean, and I would be curious to know the medical, like, stuff with that. Like, if somebody's ODing and you hit him with an adrenaline shot, does it just, you're magically cured?
No.
I mean, I'm guessing not. No.
I will tell you, I carry epinephrine, and one of the very first things that you're told when you start carrying epinephrine is, if you inject yourself with epinephrine for a medical emergency, the first thing you have to do is go to the ER. That is the first thing you're supposed to do, because it's A, super bad for you, and B, they have to keep you under medical watch for whatever the underlying thing is. Right. So, like, you will wake up almost certainly, like, her response would almost certainly be exactly accurate, but like that won't last. Like she will be awake as long as the epinephrine is in her system. Epinephrine fades away very quickly, so she would probably fall back into a coma again. It's so dumb. Anyway, but that's probably hardly the biggest problem to deal with. Kind of moving quickly through the Christopher Walken thing. He's a good actor.
Yeah, I mean it's fine.
He's a good actor.
Other than we have to interject some
like racist shit,
some
because
Asian
why not?
racism, because we haven't gotten to that.
Them yet.
We
We've gotten everyone else. We've
might as well offend everybody at this point.
Right. We've dealt with people that have cognitive impairment. We've dealt with it's phenomenal. It's great. Black people, anyone. The Pacific Islanders. I think we've covered almost everybody. Yeah. It's amazing. And then
little fat phobic.
Why not? Yeah, just roll them all in there. It's great. It's great. Oh, one fun dumb thing. All the night driving shots are terrible.
Oh yeah.
Because that was for a long time the way that everyone did night driving was you would physically drive a car onto a rig, and like a lot of the backlots had them. You drive them onto this little rig, and it could move them around a little bit, and then it just had a surround projector on the rear part of it.
Right.
And it looks really bad. It genuinely just looks not good to shoot on. But anyway, that's my own little dumb thing.
Oh yeah, especially the scene where they're driving to Jack. Is it driving to?
I think it was. Yeah, it was driving either to or from. I know it must have been.
Yeah, to the restaurant.
I think it was to. Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
The potbelly scene was fucking weird. They're again, I think we've beaten that relationship to death, where it was why.
But again,
everything was
it's
weird.
A conversation that was inconsequential.
It was
too.
weird,
yeah.
and it was weird. I think she was, to me, it was insinuating pregnancy, because it was on her. She's I look normal except I would have a potbelly. I'm like. And he's like, then I'd punch you in your potbelly. I'm like, are you? What is this?
Yeah,
what are we doing?
What the hell is happening?
Why are we doing this, Quentin? I need some answers. What are we doing? I literally wrote. So the everyone needs to go to therapy in this movie, including the director.
Yeah, that's the understatement of
Butch finishes his scene in the phone. He goes and does his fight, kills the guy.
Yeah.
He's in the phone booth.
Yeah,
and they do that orbital shot around the phone booth. That was a cool shot.
Yeah.
I have to find fun stuff to say it was cool. A lot of fades to black in this kind of part of the movie. Now that we're getting you talking about that second half, everything starts moving quickly. Then they just fade out and go into something new. The frickin' R word thing. That was a weird sequence.
Yeah,
they were not just the R word thing, but also being very
And they had to find an excuse to repeat it
repeatedly. Yeah, and then also use. And there was other words they were using in there that were also not great.
Just not.
Yeah, it was gross. So anyway, I think that the rest of that is we've kind of addressed a lot of the rest of Butch's. Of Butch's sequence with the shotgun. There's a lot of him. That sequence was a lot of just transit, him just going from one place to another.
Yeah.
And I get that one had a different speed because it was sort of this slice of life moment. I do get that was sort of the point. But now it's time to get into the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
Which was the frickin' yeah.
That, even when I enjoyed this movie, was always a sequence that bothered me. And it bothers me even more now, because it's just A, there's a lot in that scene that it just... Why?
Yeah.
And B, it's just... they didn't need to go there.
They didn't need to go there. Well, and I'm trying to... And obviously this whole movie is a fucking non sequitur. Clearly that's kind of the point. But what was this what were we standing to gain here? Yeah. I think,
and sorry to clarify, this is the whole
sodomy,
thing in the basement scene.
Yeah,
Zed and whatever the guy's name was, and Maynard and the Gimp,
which I don't know why the Gimp was there. I mean, so this sequence was a lot. The problem that I'm trying to figure out is, I think we said, why? And maybe even beyond that is what was intending to be done. I think it was intending to be done because it was supposed to get Butch and
and Marcellus off each other's
backs.
I mean, and
which it did do, but why?
And then it also, because you see this happen even between Mia and Vincent, is that everyone has secrets with each other,
right?
And this is theirs. With Mia and Vincent, it was her overdose, and then I don't really think that Jules has. Well, kind of. I guess the car thing is their secret.
Is there like
Jules and Vincent have the car?
The car, right? Right. Okay.
But so there's a lot of like these weird like secrets, but that one is just really like it. It's the Quentin Tarantino's like, I need to go too far, right?
Because I need to find the line. Like that is what is important to me in making movies, which I just don't subscribe to that particular kind of.
Yeah, it's shock value for shock value,
like,
and it added.
I like something that's shocking when I am getting something else out of it, and this to me had no other value in it apart from the end result, which was just Marcellus and Butch like being cool. Was there some like, to me all it did was be sort of it felt homophobic.
Yep, I can see that.
Like a little bit. Like obviously, like I'm not going to be the homophobia police. Like I don't know. Like I don't think that Quentin Tarantino is necessarily like homophobic in an outward way or anything. I don't think that would ever be something that anyone's ever said. But I feel like there's like a lot of like internalized homophobia in the writing and the production of that, because to me.
No, that's actually a good point. You bring that up though, because now as I was thinking during the foot massage sequence, how he diffuses that is
by two men, like, oh no, God, could you imagine? Well, and so that's kind of one of the things that I've noticed is this weird undercurrent with this scene is like the most obvious, right? Because it's you imagine, you put yourself in the writer's head while this is all happening, and you see, you get this sense of like, he's going, okay, there's this something insane has to happen, and it has to be like, it has to make the audience so uncomfortable that they want to leave. You know, like it needs to be just crazy. What's the thing that no one could even imagine thinking about dealing with? And it's like sodomy between two men. Like, you know what I mean? Like
that scene can easily be redone and get that same shock value if you go a torture horror route.
Right.
And it doesn't need to involve that. Like it's such a, to me, I think that, and this podcast is famous. This is not a famous podcast. Let me rephrase. I mean, dozens of people know who I am on the internet. Listen, this is your star power now. I'm here to
thank you, all 20 subscribers. I appreciate you so much. No, the thing that we have discovered on this podcast a lot as it's been going on, and whatever we are in episode 28 or whatever, the thing that's wild to me is how things are perceived differently and not differently between when they come out and when I finally watch it on this podcast. And this is one of those sequences where I would love to know, like at the time, I think it was just there for shock value.
Yep, absolutely.
Only shock value, because everyone, the thing that, and no one could imagine is like, did you know that there was like a gay like rape scene? Like, right? And then now you look back at it and you go, so what if we deconstruct this, what he's doing is trying to think of the most shocking and horrifying thing you could think of, and that's like,
well, also
a gay sexual act,
being racist at the same time,
it's totally racist.
Clearly, who's getting it? It's it's Ving Rhames' as a character,
and the idea of like putting him in that position, like like and then there's like a weird. Like, is there like a weird Southern racist component? Like,
oh yeah, what is 100%? Because you go into the shop and it's Confederate flag is the first damn thing you see.
Like, it's just weird.
That used to mean something.
It's the culture, Mike. It's the culture.
Oh, right.
Heritage, yeah. So, yeah, like, I feel like that whole sequence I was done, I'm just like, oh my God. Like, I don't know why. Like, I don't know.
It's like he had just watched Deliverance and he's like, yeah, I think I could do that.
I have to put it on my list too. God damn it. Do you get a point? I think you might get a point. Hold on. You get points if you come up with a movie during the screening that we haven't seen.
No. Yeah.
Not on my watch list. Mike gets a point.
Oh God. Hey.
You might have to be there for it though.
Oh no. God.
You came up with it. Like this is how this works.
There's me just joking about the Street Fighter movie,
Nope.
but no.
You're gonna be there. You're gonna be there for that too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause
Anyway,
I did that for my my stage combat test.
Oh, that's right. You did.
Yeah, I did the
Amazing.
Guile M Bison fight from that for my adjudication for stage combat.
That's the one that has Raul Julia, right?
Yeah, Raul Julia just is the only reason that
I will need it. Yeah, that's gonna be fun. That's gonna be fun. Okay, so yeah, so moral of the story, like that was a lot. It was also giving like it was like the other half of this coin, and then I'll put this whole fucking Maynard scene to bed. Is on the back side of it, it was also there clearly to make everyone get super on board with him brutally killing them.
Yep.
Like,
which I think we already were, but
yeah, like I don't know, man. Like that sequence was fucking weird to me. I think it was really, really unnecessary.
Yeah, 100%, 1,000% it's unnecessary. Also, a couple things in that scene too that I want to point out.
Yeah.
Once again, much like the drug dealer, the gimp is there.
Right.
Why? He adds nothing. He has like a weird giggle.
Right. Yeah.
And
he's literally knocked out in like the first 10 seconds of
like Bruce Willis unties himself and then douche, knock him out. And it's just like, what was the point?
And again, that's why this whole scene to me, unless there is something I am missing, which I don't think there is, but in case there is, I just want to put that out there. But I just think that he's just there for shock value.
Right.
There's a man in a gimp suit.
Right.
Like it's 1994. Everyone's like,
now,
lost my stars.
The other thing I want to point out is Zed is wearing a badge, but he's also a security officer uniform. It clearly says that on both the arms.
Okay.
So it's like, is he supposed to be a cop or is he a mall cop? Because
or is this literally just stolen or just like dress up?
I mean,
stolen valor. Like, yeah, no, exactly. Like it's just
it's like his kink, right? I show up as a cop. Jesus,
right.
fuck, that makes that scene 10 times worse now.
Right? Like nothing about it is good, but like I just don't know why we were subjected. Like why they put that much time into getting that put together. Like, it is just such a weird thing, and there is something about it to me that just feels like it's preying on some part. It's trying to prey on the psyches of 1994 viewers that was just profoundly homophobic and thinking about like trying to portray the worst idea of that, you know, like the most predatory, horrifying version of that. And like, I'm not saying, because it's a empirically horrifying scene.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong. Like that's the idea, and it is. But like it feels like that is what they were trying to, like they were trying to triple its intensity because of the fact that it was gay. Like
it's one of those things where it's just, there's already the problem in movies of sexual violence being being a plot device to make the female or female presenting character stronger or something like that. And now this is like, I can't say that it's worse, but like equally fucked up. Like another way to do this.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. And it's
like just no. It just, that's the part where you're just like, this is where you start losing me now.
Yep. So anyway, the Maynard scene, didn't love it. Not a fan. Moving on.
Which that leads into a whole, like the whole, it's not a motorcycle, it's a chopper, baby.
It's a chopper,
like,
baby.
What the hell?
Yeah, like what is that? Shut up. She's asking a question and you're responding by not answering it.
Right.
And it's just such a lack of respect.
It's like the we'll go back to a Kevin Smith reference in Mallrats. It's not a sailboat, it's a schooner. A schooner is a sailboat, you idiot. Yeah, a chopper is a motorcycle, you dumbass.
Man. God damn it. Yeah, so yeah, that's all a thing. I'm pretty fucking far from okay. Fair enough.
Yeah,
fair enough.
I mean,
yeah, that's fair. The
understatement of the movie.
the same of the movie. Yep. I'm pretty fucking far from being okay too, bud. So then we move into the last sequence, which is the issue with Bonnie or Batter Bonnie or whatever it was.
Yeah. Which once again, we just love springing situations onto new characters to introduce them.
Right. Oh god, one note I had was I worked 3 8-hour shifts in the time that the entire Butch sequence happened. Like all of that. It was so long. And nothing happened.
It's kind of like when characters are dying and they've got like their 5-minute monologue as they're dying.
Right,
it's like, dude,
like,
you've been dead 7 times over at this point now.
So then we get into the end of so we kind of come full circle back to the beginning of the film again. Mm-hmm. And it's, the sequence with Jules and Vince. The guy comes in and misses them because he's a terrible shot. And Jules has now had his moment of clarity.
I would love to know if that guy got to play a stormtrooper at some point.
Just can't aim.
Yeah, just can't.
Absolutely terrible at it. And then they get in the car with
Mr. Wolf.
No, before that.
Oh,
we're right at the beginning. We're
Phil Lamar's character.
Yeah, Phil Lamar's character.
Which, again, as we pointed out, weird to see him
in
person, not
it's
just
very weird.
Voicing a character.
Right, I'm
like
just
we
used
said,
to
they're
being
like
Hermes.
You're like, oh yeah, hey, Matt Groening comes up to him. Can you voice like 4,000 characters because everyone else in this cast is white?
Yeah, not wrong. So then so he accidentally shoots Phil Lamar in the back of the car, which whoops, that's too bad. I will say that I was expecting this movie to be more like gory, and it wasn't as gory as I thought it was going to be. Like there's blood around, but they don't show a lot of viscera.
I mean, again, to bring it back, Reservoir Dogs is much more
violent.
Like it's much more just. Yeah, I mean the whole torture sequence I think is just like enough to
Okay. Okay.
Sorry, I just have to point out the fact that every time I say Reservoir Dogs, I have to check myself because I was in an improv group called Reservoir Frogs, and so my brain just like I'm making sure I'm not switching.
I think you did once to me in the other room because I was like, "Did you say Reservoir Frogs?" And yeah. A
little bit of
it's a little
Mike lore.
Yeah, some deep Mike lore. Tune in next week on our Patreon exclusive comment episodes on our deep dive of Mike lore.
Mike lore.
Okay, so they shoot Phil Lamar in the back of the car, which is one of those that is like the quintessential. I mean, honestly, like that sequence of the movie is maybe the most fun. Like weirdly, is like so they he gets shot out of the car. It's almost a self-contained short film,
right?
They're getting done. They shoot him, and they're like, oh fuck, we figure what to do with it. They end up at Jimmy's house. Jimmy thrown around with the N-word with a nice hard R a couple of times for no good fucking reason.
With his amazing coffee.
Which fuck you, Jimmy.
Yeah.
And then
Jimmy's the kind of dork that goes and buys the $20 coffee at Target.
Hey, look,
brags about it.
I get the $20 coffee delivered to me, but I also don't say the N-word.
Right.
So cancel me however you will, the internet.
They could have made that even worse if he just like they have like a drawn out 5-minute sequence of him like French pressing it and shit, like.
That's my favorite part. That's my favorite part of the whole fucking movie.
Turns into a Nestle commercial somehow.
Honestly, I'd rather watch that than just watching Butch walk around his apartment complex for like 25 minutes. Oh my god. And then so that's where Harvey Keitel shows up.
Yep.
He's actually genuinely a lot of fun to watch. Like that whole sequence is kind of funny. Vince is bizarre again, but Vince is always bizarre. Classic. They clean up.
I do enjoy they're basically like Tweedledee and Tweedledum at that moment. Like they're like they're kind of like pegged for the derpy henchmen that they basically are.
Right. Exactly. it's an adventure. I could have watched an adventure of just them being henchmen. Like that
Right.
could have been kind of fun. I think that was what I wrote. I think I'd rather be watching Archer. You two look like someone who blew up someone's head. And then I also love that he just sprayed them with a hose. That was kind of fun. That was enjoyable to watch for me. And then I couldn't. Oh god, there's so many. Again, there's just so many. Like I was gonna try to write down all the quotes that I knew from the common parlance that I'm just like, I'm not doing that. There's a lot of them. I keep thinking it was earlier in time because I forgot that in 1994 you could still smoke in restaurants. So that was a weird thing that I kind of forgot about.
Do you also notice like there's always somebody smoking?
Oh, 100%, all the time.
Almost in every sequence, somebody has a cigarette.
That became such a film school trope when I was in school.
Yeah.
Because again, like we were my generation, I think, of film students. Like maybe even, I mean, before me too. But like, I think I was kind of like the tail end of like the big Quentin Tarantino inspired edgelord film school era. So I know like we were doing short films, multiple every semester. And I remember we had one that we had to shoot. We had to shoot on the Bolex, so a 16 millimeter camera. And we did all of the audio ADR later, and they made no one wanted to be on camera. So I'm like, fuck it, I'll do it. We have a shoot. We know what we're going to do. It's fine. It's like a very small narrative thing where I'm edgy and weird, and I just start
I want to see this now.
Do you want? I might be able to find it.
Oh my god, this would be delightful.
The moral of the story, the reason I bring it up is because I was a friend of mine, like I was stalking them with my camera, like that was the whole bit, and then someone comes up and like was gonna attack her. It was like a mixture of like Quentin Tarantino and Alfred Hitchcock. That was sort of the vibe, but worse than either, right? But
so
at
just
the beginning,
abusive all around.
correct, 100%. But at the beginning, I had to be seen on camera smoking a hand rolled cigarette, and they were not filtered. And that was disgusting. That was one of the most disgusting things I've ever had to do in my life. Like I had to I'll find it. I'll just so you can see the opening.
I'm assuming you guys didn't have the budget for stage cigarettes.
No,
But yeah,
they were real cigarettes.
Yeah, I'm like, oh.
They were hand rolled real cigarettes.
And that's the thing is like, there's no saying that those weren't real cigarettes in that movie.
No,
they probably were, to be honest.
Probably might have been.
Yeah.
Good God. Anyway,
I just did a thing on stage where I just bought a bunch of candy cigarettes.
Honestly,
and I'm just like, this is much more enjoyable.
Yeah, luckily I had to do that take like 3 times, so I had to and I had to store the new one, so we'd throw the old one away. But it was like, oh god, I just smelled and felt disgusting the rest of the day.
It was funny because I remember both Laurel and I being like those first couple, because we both used to smoke.
Yeah.
And those first couple months after the smoking bans and going to First Avenue and realizing I don't smell like an ashtray anymore.
Right.
I still smell like shit because I'm sweaty and all that stuff.
Right. But I don't smell like smoke anymore.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh god. Yeah, it's wild. Absolutely wild. So anyway, the movie ends. The end of the movie to me was not all that interesting. With them at back at the diner.
No.
And the hold up thing. It was another power trip moment.
Right.
It wasn't really all that interesting.
Because once again, the female character is just meant to be oh, she's losing her cool.
She's losing her cool. Keep your cool, honey bun.
Right.
Stupid.
Just dumb. And then I never thought about this until now, but when Butch kills Vincent in his apartment,
right.
So the timing of all that must be that happens after the diner sequence.
Right. I would be willing to bet that the Butch stuff happens last.
Right.
Because, Marcellus and him had that experience together. And Marcellus was fine, and all the stuff that they experienced.
Yeah.
I assume that all kind of happened at the very tail end. So we don't end at the end. The end actually happens at the end of Butch's sequence.
Right.
And then everything that at the end of the movie happened before Butch started. Is what best I can guess.
Right.
Which fine. Okay, Memento. Good stuff.
Okay. It ended with nothing.
It ended with a big ol' nothing, and I learned nothing, and
Right.
I'm trying to not sound grouchy about it, but I'm a little grouchy about it.
I just want to know what happens to Jules afterwards. That's
Me
I was
too.
kind of curious about that. I'm like,
Right.
all right, he's off,
Right.
Maybe that is he leaves that, wanders
I'm
around
waiting for this.
and becomes
Nick Fury. I'm hoping. It's really the prequel to everything. The real first Avenger is fucking Pulp Fiction. God damn it.
I mean, I was trying to think. I'm like, John Travolta hasn't been in a Marvel movie, has he?
Not yet.
No.
I'm waiting for it. Oh my god. Okay. So you've listened before. You know that we rate at the end.
Yeah.
It's broken down into 4 different kind of subcategories, all out of 5. The first one is production and design. I think that this is probably a 5.
Yeah.
Because he's an auteur. Like he's got a style. It felt very good the whole time, minus some little nitpicks, but whatever. I want to give the story a 3 personally, or maybe even a 2.5, because I don't think it's that.
It's told in a non-linear way that doesn't feel like it adds
to
that.
Yeah, it's
like,
and
I get why it's like, oh, we're gonna want you to watch it 2 or 3 times so you understand the entire time sequence. But like,
I frankly don't think that there was a lot more to get out of it. Like, you, and if there's anything that like you were like, oh, by the way, this was happening, I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. Like,
yeah.
And you've seen it a number of times before.
Because you even stopped at one point and you're like, wait, explain to me the fighting, like what happened with the fight. And I'm like, oh yeah, you beat the guy to death.
Right,
yeah.
right. Like it was just like it wasn't that groundbreaking.
No.
For now. Again, I do want to say, like, I know that this movie came out 31 years ago, so I don't want to discredit that. But I also think that it just isn't like, it isn't as deep as it thinks it is, and the nonlinear storytelling isn't as groundbreaking as it thinks it is. In my opinion,
and he does that in subsequent movies. I'm trying to remember the name of the movie that came out that he did after this.
Okay.
That does the same exact annoying thing that you're kind of like, wait, what the hell is happening again?
Right.
And like, yeah, there's probably somebody who's gonna be like, well, you just need to pay attention to movies more and stuff like that, and just pay attention to the storyline going on. And I'm like,
right.
I mean, sure, fine,
right.
But like, some of us just want to see a story and don't want to have to think about it too hard sometimes.
Right.
I mean, like, hey, I'm gonna admit, I'll watch. You throw a Marvel movie, I'm gonna go watch it.
Right.
I'm a huge comic nerd, anyways, but like, they don't try to be all like, well, what happens if we just go in the middle of him being frozen and don't explain anything?
Right. Yeah, I don't know, and I just feel like there are movies that I really like that hide and do twists and turns and just go non-linear, like, but this one didn't seem to have anything to tell. Like it wasn't interesting enough to make me feel compelled to unwind it. Like it didn't draw me in to want to unwind it. I don't know. So I'm
Jackie Brown. That's the movie I'm thinking of.
Okay.
That comes at 97.
Okay. So I'm thinking maybe a 3 for story. I don't know.
I'm gonna say 2.5 just because I'm annoyed by the non-linear stuff that just doesn't really
and
add
it's just
much.
And there are times where non-linear can be fun, but I have to feel engaged enough in the material to want to unwind it. And if it's not there, if there's not a reason to feel like I need to, then this isn't fun. Like Memento, famously out of order, but there's like a mystery. There's like a thing at the crux of it, and there is nothing here.
Right.
And then performances.
Yeah, it depends on who we're talking about. I mean,
and that tells you a lot, doesn't it?
Right.
I think like John Travolta was really good. Harvey Keitel was really good. Samuel Jackson was really good.
Samuel Jackson got to play himself, so he's
which was
always
good.
solid when you can
Bruce
see that.
Willis was just like Bruce Willis.
No, he was terrible.
Yeah, it was super not that good. All the women were not interesting, but it's because they weren't written very well. So you can't really fault the actors for that.
I mean, and Tim Roth is kind of like whatever in this. I mean, he's...
I don't know. I would say, knowing that there were a couple of standouts, and we can't take some of the issues that I had with the characterizations for the writing, maybe we say a 3.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. 3,
Okay.
3.5, something like
Okay,
that.
let's do.
Yeah.
We can do a 3.5,
Yeah.
just because I know that. I don't know. There was some fun stuff in there,
Yeah,
and there was some.
definitely some solid performances. It just there
Right.
was also some weak performances. You know, it's like
100%.
watching a wrestling show.
100%. That is actually not a bad analogy.
Some matches are really some matches slap. Some of them are just like
really bad.
what was this horse shit?
Yeah. Oh man. Okay, the last one is gonna be really interesting because the last one is cultural impact.
I mean,
So, right. And so what we've done historically is 3 is sort of our neutral. Above that means that there was a positive contribution, like culturally, and then under 3 was a negative one.
Well,
and I know. And so for me,
Well.
it's like, do we try to balance out in the middle? Because there's a lot of cultural touchstone stuff that's just part of the common vernacular. It's not really bad or good. It just is.
Yeah.
Or do we think that there was like too much of it was like leading directly into the world of Andrew Tate? Like, I don't know.
That's just it. It's like this thing is revolutionary and groundbreaking at its time.
Right.
For what it does. I mean, the
Right.
nonlinear storyline was a big deal. You didn't do that kind of stuff normally.
Right.
But then like you said, like this leads into a lot of the negativity, machismo that we see today, toxic masculinity and all that fun jazz.
Yeah.
But like you can't take away that it was a impactful movie at the same time.
Agreed.
Like just because it was like, it's put a bunch of bad crap. Like it's like the Times Man of the Year doesn't mean they were a good person.
Right.
I mean, that was their justification for putting Hitler on the
Right.
Times Person of
Right.
the Year in like, what was it, 34?
4, yeah. It was like
35,
the early mid 30s.
before we knew how
Right.
shit was going to get real. But
Right.
so it's just like, for better or worse, it has a huge impact. It's just maybe
Right.
not for the positive.
Right. Yeah, I feel like maybe we go with a 3. I don't know.
I mean, what did you do for Fight Club?
What did I do for Fight
Because
Club?
that's a
That's a pretty
a similar
comparable-
argument can be made there.
Right. We did a 2 for Fight Club. I think that if we're gonna do it to Fight Club, I think you're right. I think we have to give this a 2.
Right.
Which is interesting because I think that means that it is our lowest rated.
Is this like if you've ever seen Top Gear and they always put like the times around the track for all
Yes.
the cars?
Yes.
So you got like the board.
I do. I actually do have a board. Let me see. Okay, so Pulp Fiction.
Which, funny enough, like I never cared about cars, and then I watched that show, and I'm like, I still really don't care about cars, but like I
Yes.
still, there's a part of me that like if I ever got filthy rich, I would buy an Alfa Romero just because of that show.
Oh, 100%. I used to love Top Gear. It's a problematic show, but I love it to death.
Jeremy Clarkson
Is a problematic man. Yeah. I was always a James May guy myself. I always enjoyed James May, but
Laura will tell you that's her dad, basically.
oh really?
Yeah.
I believe that. Okay, so that takes us to it's tied for dead last
Okay.
on our ratings
With
X-Men 3.
that almost seems unfair.
To which one?
Well, fair.
And then the one above
Honestly,
it.
I can't even remember what happened in X3 at this point.
Exactly.
Like, I'm just like, what?
I'm the Juggernaut bitch is the only thing that's funny in that. Okay. So Pulp Fiction, X-Men 3 both have 3.2s. And then the next one up is Hot Tub Time Machine with 3.5. How do you feel about that?
I don't
ranking?
know. Now I'm like,
Do we want to? Okay, I'm going to do something I have not done before. I am going to put the cultural impact rating to a 3.
Okay.
Because I think that this had positive impacts on good quality movie making in the
Right.
future.
Yes.
So yeah, it's
That's
not
where I have the conflicts with it, because I'm just like, I mean, it absolutely
we could
is
we could also bump it to a 2.5 instead of a 3.
No, 3's fine by me.
Because if it's a 2.5, that puts it to 3.4, which is above X-Men 3, but still below Hot Tub Time Machine.
No, then it's gotta be.
and then-
Like, listen, Hot Tub Time Machine was fun to watch once, but God, did I feel stupider after watching it.
It's a terrible film. So now it's tied for Hot Tub Time Machine.
Okay, that's... you
which
know
I
what?
feel like we can go with that.
That's
we can roll
fine.
with
You
it.
know what? To be... Both feature a lot of problematic
They do.
feelings
They
towards women.
really do. It's just the Hot Tub Time Machine happened like 15 years after the fact.
Yeah, I mean...
They should know better.
Right.
Wow. Okay. So there you go. That was the longest single episode of this show we've ever done. Because
That's what
this
happens when you put two people with ADHD in a room.
Well,
and it's just like, let's go on some tangents.
To be fair, Megan does too.
Oh, well,
it's
that's
just,
fair.
I think this movie had we both had a lot of things to talk about with this
Yeah, I
film,
mean,
so
you know.
it made a lot of sense to go through it. So all of that being said, do you have anything to plug? You working on anything coming up that you want to talk about?
Do I have anything? Oh yeah, I will plug Dark Pony Radio.
All right.
That is the episodic, I guess, like podcast, like it's a horror radio play,
Right,
that we do,
right.
and it's all very episodic,
Serial radio play.
Yeah, so
Very cool.
Put on by Dark Pony Productions. So I'm part of the rotating cast of people who you'll feature in the background. We've got an episode that we're going to be recording next week, I believe. Yeah, so that's a lot of fun to do. It's really messed up horror that is inspired a lot by like some old like mythologies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So we've really been playing with like Greek mythology in a horror way this season. So yeah,
Nice.
so go check that out. Otherwise, I exist on Blue Sky, and that's kind of where I exist on the internet now.
Yep. I feel that. We'll link you if you go to the Film School Slacker website. We'll have your socials linked up there.
Where
That
I
works for you.
promote shows that I do in the Twin Cities, but
Nice.
nothing really on the internet anymore.
Nice. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining, Mike.
Of course.
Yeah, this has been a delight, even though the movie is sometimes not a delight. But thank you so much all for tuning in on this extra long and I hope very interesting episode of Film School Slacker. We will see you next time.
Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to Film School Slacker. Our graphic design is by Mitch Ransdell. Music by Ariel Shalom and Ziv Moran. Voiceover audio provided by Mike D and Janet Paoni. Learn more at filmschoolslacker.com.